one of the biggest challenges of the series, right, is you've got these people that are really street legends. And if you know anything about the streets or know anything about hip hop, you know, people, they're not always forthcoming. They're not really telling everything about their lives. They're not telling the details, and for good reasons. There's statute limitations, you know, if some people have done illegal stuff. There's just this code of like, you know, minding your business. You know what I mean? Like, that's big. Like, staying out of other people's business is a thing. And so one of the challenges for Hip Hop Uncovered was to get people to speak honestly about their lives and some of their stories and experiences. And I think it all started with Big U being an executive producer on this project and having a lot of trust in the streets, right? And in the industry. You know, Big U is a prominent figure here and has been for a long time. And for him to share his life, you know, is sort of a big deal. So I would say, to speak honestly, it was a process. You know, everyone, even though they signed up to do this, to do Hip Hop Uncovered, they weren't sure what it was exactly going to be. You know, like, as much as we explained it to them, they weren't sure if they could trust us, basically. And so the whole thing, as filmmakers, one of the first things you have to do on any project is gain everybody's trust, you know? And so with myself and Rob, we've got a 20 plus year history of working together. Bringing him on was essential for me to have the trust that I needed to make sure that we were going to make everybody look amazing. We were going to shoot this in a unique way. We were going to make this project very special. And that sort of trust just trickled down throughout the whole project. You know, my partner, executive producer, Malcolm Spellman, he's like a really, really close friend of mine. Jim Bob, Chris is a really, really close friend of his, you know? And Jim Bob and Big U know each other from the streets, and they have there's a certain camaraderie or a certain trust factor there. So a lot of it was the relationships and the people who were doing the project mixed with the process of filmmaking and just having a camera in your face and telling your story and becoming more and more comfortable along the way. And then once we started showing people early cuts, that's when the trust really kicked in, and everybody sort of let us know as much as they could let us know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're never gonna really get everything from anybody and anything that's on TV with, you know, people of this caliber.
So some of the challenges of putting together Hip Hop Uncovered was you're dealing with subjects that are traditionally not in front of the camera. Pretty much the only one I think that's really used to being in front of the camera was Deb Antony. Of course, Trick is an artist, so he's done it before as well. But kind of just seconding on what Rashidi had mentioned as well was just, you know, gaining people's trust. I feel like when you assemble a crew, you know, everybody on that crew represents you. So Rashidi and I had discussions about who we were going to bring on. You know, when I had a meeting at Lightbox, the company that was the producers of the show, along with Rashidi and Malcolm and Jim Bob and Big U, was like, I basically told them, like, I'm the guy that can come in the room and know not what to say, you know when to shut up. So a lot of it was about just being in people's spaces and allowing them to trust you and creating a comfortable environment. And I think when we did that, people knew that we were, you know, it wasn't an exploitative thing. One of the biggest compliments we got was that Deb Antony, and she wrote it, I think, you know, it was on Twitter or Instagram. She said that in all their years of filming television, this was the most comfortable she had been, that these were people without an agenda. And I think and I think one of the things that Deb Antony said was that we went in this without an agenda, and that was a big compliment, to know that she trusted us for all the years that she's been doing TV. she claimed that we were, the most trustable, and she had a great time with us.
There were many, many, many lessons learned while creating this docuseries. For me, one of the biggest was the idea of just taking things day at a time, I'm used to just running, like aggressively going to get it, like hip hop, right? Like that's the approach, man. Everything is just like, blah, you know what I mean? Like, let's go get it. There's that energy, right? That vibe, right? But this project took, the production of it, over a year and a half. You know what I mean? Year and a half, 2 years almost. I can't even count. Like, I'm so dizzy right now. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't approach a project like this. So I learned how to take it one day at a time. And another thing I learned is how to pick my battles. I'm not necessarily great at that. I just want it all. I want every single fucking thing that I'm trying to get, all of it. I don't give a fuck. I want it. And you gonna give it to me and we gonna get it together. That's my vibe, right? And it's just not realistic in a 6-hour series, you know what I mean, that you can't really control because it's a documentary. You know what I mean? It's like you have to pick and choose in your battles, and that's something that was a huge lesson for me and really, really, really important to anybody. That's like both of those things are life lessons, to be honest.
One of the biggest lessons I learned on Hip Hop Uncovered was patience. Was as a cinematographer as well, you have sort of these reclusive people that aren't always letting you into their world. So a lot of it also is about what you don't show. And I think photographically, how we created the series, there's different approaches, but a lot of stuff is sort of like what's right around the corner that you don't see, kind of creating that as well. So I think I learned a lot about patience.